I have right now, I run Tony's company with 300 employees, my company with 100 employees, my real estate company with people. I have, hundreds and hundreds of people. And I realize during times like this, I got to sharpen my mindset. I have to be empathetic, but I also have to be a freaking leader to help guide them through the fire, because some people can't do it on their own. So there's these new emotions and feelings, and we're in this culture where literally what's trending is freaking quiet quitting. I mean, we're in a weird place in the world right now. So I need to adapt. I need to just adjust and be a better leader, be a better man, be a better human. I have to grow. Well, simultaneously, some people are not going to want to stretch, Albert.
So I didn't have the 50 grand. I had 25. So I told a buddy, hey buddy, can you want to go 50-50? 25K you, 25K me, and then we'll sell tickets, and then we'll grow this event, we'll fill up the stage. And my buddy said no. And my buddy was scared. He said, well, you don't have experience with creating events. You don't have, you're not a speaker. I don't know what all the excuses were, but he didn't want to do it. So I grabbed the credit card, put the other 25 grand, started Driven. Now we're going on Driven 7. Hey guys, welcome back to Driven Channel, and I'm here very excited because I have Dean Graziosi. Dean, I had you before. I went to your headquarters. You did. I sat right there next to you. The background, I remember that.
True story.
So, Dean, you're one of the most famous, biggest self-help people in the world. I know you're very close with Tony Robbins. I want to first thank you for everything you do for not only me, but for the world, because you give people a lot of great information. I was looking at my report card earlier today from the second grade, and the teachers were putting, this kid needs to improve his English. This kid is really bad at science. You need a lot of, your progress is not looking good. And all these like bad remarks about my second grade grades. So I was looking at it, and I remember all those kids that were growing up with me, like they're not doing too good. And I'm not saying that I'm doing amazing, but through hard work and through self-help from people like you, because I've been following you for like 20 years. You popped up on the TV a long time ago. We went over that in the previous podcast, but you help a lot of people. And because of people like you, I was able to start a business, start another business, and grow the businesses. So first of all, very thankful to have you here. It's an honor to speak with you, and thank you, Dean, for being here.
Yeah, first, Albert, thank you for the kind words, man. And I have to give kudos to the people who helped me, right? The Napoleon Hills and the Dale Carnegies and Tony Robbins and people who helped support me along that journey as well. And Albert, one thing we have in common when we start right now is my second grade report cards looked about the same. So except for the part where we're not speaking English, I just spoke really bad English and couldn't read well. So I think my report card and your report card would probably align really well.
Thank you, Dean. But you know what? It says a lot. And I know that self-improvement, self-help is one of the biggest industries right now. It's there's a lot of money in that industry. We'll get into that. But before that, Dean, I'm very curious about what you think. What's your take with real estate right now? Because I own a real estate brokerage. I own a mortgage brokerage. And you're going to be at Driven 6, which I'm really excited to have you. So a lot of our audience are real estate brokers and mortgage brokers. So as you know, right now the real estate industry is a little bit fragile. And I know you're a huge investor in real estate. What's your take overall with real estate? Are you still investing? Do you think a lot of these realtors and loan officers are going to have big problems, or what? How do you feel about it?
So only because I've been here a few times, Albert, right? I was in business in the 90s when things shifted, and I was in real estate and in business in 07 when it shifted. And, the way I look at it is you got to break it down into two components, the inner game and the outer game. And I think this is really important to hear. And I don't want to just fall back on personal development. And I'll get to some strategies too. I'll share some of the things I did in 07, 08, and 09. But there's an inner game and an outer game, meaning that the number one thing that'll cripple you during this shift, right? As we're recording this, yesterday or the day before, right? Interest rates went up another 0.75 basis points. They think that's going to happen again twice before the end of the year to slow down inflation. That's a shift. That's a change. And the problem is, if you haven't been in business for over 15 years, you've been alive during the greatest economic climb in the history of America, right? We've never had a time where interest rates were basically zero, where everything was just going straight up. So if you got in business in the last 15 years, you had a good ride. So the question is, are you someone willing to do the work, to go deeper, to be innovative, to be creative, to see where the world's going, to change your strategy, to change your focus, and thrive when other people are going to starve? Like, or are you the person that said, I had a good run, I'm out, this sucks, I'm going to do something different, right? I mean, that's where we're at. This is where the world, if you want to know the future, you just look backwards, right? This has been happening since the beginning of time. This is what they call an economic winter. Are you made for winter? You know, some people starve and freeze in winter. Some people ski and snowboard. It depends on the strategy. So the first thing I want to, I'll say is we got to go and master the inner game. And what I'd say is you have to work on your mindset now, probably more than any other time in history. Yeah. When things are going easy, when you put a house for sale and there's 13 people fighting for it, that's not a hard game, right? When everybody's dying to refi at 2% interest, that's an easy game. That's not fighting for it. When you're just dating your wife, your girlfriend, your husband, and everything is perfect, that doesn't show that you can manage real love in a long-term relationship. That's easy. Everything's blissful. Whatever happens, like, oh, this is amazing. Have 3 kids, be married for a decade, right? And when trial comes, that's when you know if you got the heart to make it real. So I just want to share that you are going to have to work on the inner game. And the words that I'll use, and I wrote these down, Albert, when you said that, is you're going to have to protect your confidence. I believe one of the best words in the entrepreneur's life and the someone who wants to have a better career path, the next level of life, is if you don't have confidence, you have nothing. Yeah. Think about in life. Have you ever made the sale when your confidence is down? Have you ever got the girl, got the guy, got people to say yes, people lent you money? If your confidence is down, you don't get crap. Right? And what happens is we have 2 years of uncertainty with COVID and mask, no mask, to vax, no vax. Then we go into inflation. Now we're heading into a recession. Interest rates going through the roof. That can ding on your confidence. And if it did, congratulations for being human. But the noise is so loud out there. The news is so loud. Your friends are going to start screaming how bad it is, that if you get in your head, you're dead. If you get in your head and you go, I'm not sure if I could do this. If you start freezing, I promise you the world will pass you by. So I think maybe if you got nothing else from today, write down somewhere on your journal to protect your confidence. And what does that mean? It means whatever protects your confidence to you. If you have certain people in your life that you talk to and you feel like crap, you're going to have to avoid them or find a new way to communicate with them. Yeah. If you watch the news and the news makes you feel like crap and go, oh my God, our world is falling apart. Oh my God, I'm going to lose the new condo I got and I can't afford this car. And what if the deals don't come in? And what if the interest rates still go up? And what if nobody buys from me? And what if no one refis? You go down that road, you're screwed. Right? So if the news triggers that, if a negative person in your life triggers that, then stop the news, stop the negative people. There's a lot of things in life that'll ding our confidence. It's an old belief. It's a thought loop that you think of like, hey, I'm not that smart. I did have shitty grades in 2nd grade. Maybe I was lucky to get here. What if under this pressure? What if I crack? What if I'm not good enough? Man, that talk doesn't do anything except rob your confidence, get you to play small, and then it'll be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So Albert asked me a question, and this might be going deeper than you're looking for a strategy. But without your mindset, this is a spiritual game. Business is a spiritual game. If you don't have your mindset right, that's 80% of the game. That is 80. Why do some people thrive in a recession? Because they have a different mindset. Then they go gain new capabilities. If I give you the magic pill to be rich in real estate during a shifting economy and your head's messed up, you're still going to fail. So I'm just trying to serve. If we're going to be here together for a half hour, 45 minutes, I want to serve. The second thing is if you find, and then Albert, I know I'm going on a rant here, and I'd love any questions you got, but I want to finish this thought. If you say, oh my God, this is going crazy. Things are a little, right? It's different than the last 15 years. It is dinging my confidence. Okay, so just literally audit the things that rob your confidence. Like I said, friends, news, certain people in your life, certain thoughts. Is it working on your weaknesses? Is it focusing on what could go wrong rather than what could go right? Identify, literally write it in your journal and say, I need to do less of this. And then on the other side, if it's listening to Albert, listening to Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, I don't know what aligns with your soul. Find the things that build your confidence. I don't care if it's watching an inspirational video, reading a book. I just got done reading for the third time Og Mandino's The World's Greatest Salesman. I love that book. Every time I read it, it fills my heart. I don't know if there's a book, a movie, a podcast, a listen, being with Albert on a regular basis, whatever you do that makes you go, you know, I got this. This is going to suck. It's going to be hard, but I got this. Then you need to do more of that. You know, my daughter, both my kids play sports, Albert. My daughter's 15 and she started in her high school. She's a pitcher. She's a softball pitcher, right?
Yeah.
And I love watching her play. She's been practicing. She's done the work when no one's watching, right? She's been working with a coach since she was 11. And she started 13 of their 15 games last year. But what I told my daughter is what I'll tell you. You win games when no one's watching, first of all. You get rewarded in public for what you do in private. But secondly, I also told my daughter that she learns the most from the games that are the toughest. When she goes in and pitches a game and the kids aren't that good, she slays it. She looks like a superstar. Everybody cheers her on, and I'm happy for her. But man, when she plays a team that kick her ass and the girls are just pounding it and she's got to throw that curveball, she's got to throw the outside corners, she has to throw her change up, and she's got to do it like they're the games I know my daughter learns the most. And if she stays in the game, she's polishing that diamond where other people give up. So this is a time, if you're a mortgage broker, if you're a real estate agent, this is the time, if you polish that diamond, you change your mindset, you get creative, you get innovative, you get out in front of where things are going, there'll be nobody left standing. All the dabblers are going away. I'll just tell you what happened in 07. It happened in 99. The dabblers, the tire kickers, the ones that are half in, half out, they get burned up. So who do you want to be? Because if you dabble in this, you're going to dabble in the next thing you do, and you're going to dabble in the next thing you do. So this is a time to get that confidence, see where the world is going, shift, innovate, gain new capabilities. And when this thing turns around, which this too shall pass, the average recession lasts 18 months. Throughout the history of time, it's 18 months. So you left standing 18 months from now, half the people will be around and you'll freaking skyrocket. I've watched it happen a million times.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Dean. And one thing that I want to ask you is, when things are great, like last year, for example, in real estate and mortgage, it was great. Rates were 2.5%, 3%. Properties were going up. And I had and this could also be personal advice that I want to ask you. We had a lot of people in the company, and some of those people are not here anymore. And I've seen it around. I heard Tom Ferry talking about realtors have been jumping to different companies like sluts, like crazy, and I think a lot of that comes from when everything is great and easy, people are happy and people are different. But when times get really hard, some people change, and then sometimes you find out that your best friend or the person that you thought was the closest to you was not really that person you thought. And I see a lot of sensitivity and people more blaming everything else except themselves. And for the last decade at least, every time something gets tough, and when things happen, when bad things happen or good things happen, especially when bad things happen, I know that it's my fault. And if I'm gonna fix it, I'm gonna fix it. And it's going to be on me, and I'll take the blame. What do you think? Do you believe in that, or why does that happen? If you agree to that?
Well, no. Well, that's why you're a leader, Albert, and that's why you run a company. You've had success, because the only successful people with sustainable success I know realize that the grass isn't greener, that no one's coming to save you, that the only person that can make a difference in your life is you. Jim Rohn said it best: for things to get better, you have to get better. But most people, and I want you to hear this, what happens when things go sideways, you think the grass will be greener, and it's not. You have to get greener. You have to get better. You have to work on you. And that's why I started with personal development. I started on working on your mindset. When things shift and the paycheck's not as big, you think someone else is going to provide it. If someone else, everybody's dealing with this. Everyone is not different. You have to be the innovator. You have to be the creator. You have to decide to stand up and say, there is no magic wand when this happens. I want to tell you, listen, think about politics here in the United States. Half of you hate the last president. Half of you hate the current president. That's just America. But has either one of them came and saved your ass? Has either one of them waved a magic wand and made things better for you, made it better for your family, helped you innovate, helped you something? No, that's not the way it goes. In fact, politicians' job today is to make us think we are more separate than we are alike, to push us to different corners, when 80% of us are similar. We want the same the same goals, we have the same outcomes, we want the same for our family, we want good for the world, we believe in something bigger than ourselves. That's 80% of us. But you watch the news, you think we don't like each other, but everybody's waiting for the next great hope, the next president, the next Congress. No one's coming to do shit. No one's changing this except for you. And the day you realize the only person that makes a difference is the person that you see in the mirror, it is the most liberating thing in the world. And what I would say, Albert, is you got to find a place in your heart of peace to let people know that some people just haven't worked on their emotional intelligence enough, and they just feel if this isn't working, it's got to be the place I'm at, and the next place will do it. And unfortunately, those people might bounce around for a long time until they quit, or quit the whole industry, or bounce around their whole lives. Right?
You know what I noticed also, Dean, is last year and years before, I'm coaching people within people that I know, people within the company and other people that I know, and I tell them, hey, you got to work hard. You know, you got to work hard. You got to wake up early. You got to get your workout in, and you got to put in a lot of hours, and you got to work hard, especially when you're starting, especially when you're not doing too good. But people, they get lazy, I think. And then now that times got really hard, now they're forced to work hard. So now they're being forced. Yeah, but
this is designed to weed out the dabblers. I mean, really, no. And listen, I'm not trying to be rude. Please know this. My heart, I'm compassionate and I care about everyone. But this will tell you a lot about yourself. It'll make you realize if you're a dabbler. Like, just being honest, it's not going to be easy, and that's life. A great relationship isn't easy. That's life. Being in great shape and being physically fit, not easy. That's life. If you want it, you got to get after it. If you want to live the easy way, you got to work the hard way now. I mean, the fact of the matter is, and I please hope you don't take this disrespectfully. Yeah. Anybody listening right now who's had success in the last 15 years, what you don't realize is you were born on third base and you think you hit a home run. That's just a fact. If you haven't lived through a recession, if you haven't gone through one and come out on the other side, you don't know real effort yet. I'm just being honest. And that's okay. This is a time. What do they say, that old saying? The smoothest stone is in the roughest part of the stream. Like, take it as your mission to say, oh yeah, I got this. I got this. This is gonna test me. This is gonna push me. This is gonna stretch me to grow. In life, we don't have a destination. Think of the people who have a destination. Their lives are over. It's about growth. It's about contribution. It's about stretching and being something different than we were yesterday. This is the time in life that the strong will survive, and that is just a fact. In my opinion, this is just my humble opinion, I do not think it will be the bloodbath of 2008. 2007. If you're alive during that, that was the most extreme thing in the history of the United States and the world, because we had a ripple effect. I think this is going to be a traditional recession, a traditional downturn. Still, I mean, I could be totally wrong. I get to be blessed to have a lot of friends smarter than me. It's still a downturn, but you're not getting hit like they did in 07 when every third house was for sale and every other one of those was in foreclosure, right? But you got to stretch. You got to gain new capabilities. You got to stay connected to a group of people, like being with Albert and this team, and you got to go all in.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Dean. And question, can you help everybody? Like, can you fix everybody's mindset? Like, for example, let's say you run my company. Do you think you could help everyone in the company, or do you think there's going to be those 10% or maybe more that are just going to be affected by this change market, and they're going to just they're gonna melt, or do you think you could fix everybody?
You can't, it's impossible. Listen, here's what I'll tell you, Albert. There's things you need to fix with you. There's probably next level leadership skills that you need to acquire in a shifting economy. I'm working on it myself. I've employed people for over 30 years, 34 years. I had my first employee 34 years ago. Right now, I run Tony's company with 300 employees, my company with 100 employees, my real estate company with people. I have hundreds and hundreds of people. And I realized during times like this, I got to sharpen my mindset. I have to be empathetic, but I also have to be a freaking leader to help guide them through the fire, because some people can't do it on their own. So there's these new emotions and feelings, and we're in this culture where literally what's trending is freaking quiet quitting. I mean, we're in a weird place in the world right now. So I need to adapt. I need to adjust and be a better leader, be a better man, be a better human. I have to grow. Well, simultaneously, some people are not going to want to stretch, Albert, right? We're all driven by different things. And this is Tony Robbins 101. But think about this. There are some people who their core drive, their core value is certainty, right? I need to know a certain amount of money I make. I want to show up a certain amount of time. I want to be certain I'll have this job forever. I want to be certain when I show up. I need certainty. The last 15 years, that's certainty. You were fed that certainty. All of a sudden, overnight, uncertainty. Mask, no mask. COVID, vaccine, no vaccine. Recession. Is this industry going to drop? Will I make less money? Will I have a job? Is this the right company to be with? That person driven by certainty are living in a land of uncertainty. That person, unless they work on them, that person's going to spin out of control, and they're going to go from place to place trying to find certainty. There's some people you're going to see that thrive on uncertainty. I'd bet to say, if you really dug in your life, Albert, you're okay with uncertainty. You're okay with change. You're okay with being a rebel. You're okay with being different. You're okay with trying shit no one else would try, and you'll risk it to make it happen. So when something like this happens, your brain's gonna be thinking, all right, everybody's worried of what's wrong. How do I find opportunity? There's got to be a way to crush it in this shifting economy. I can invest in a certain way. I could just work with investors because they want to buy cheap properties. Like, you might thrive in a shifting world. So you're going to see some people on your team be like, hey, tough times, let's go. And other people are like, that's because their core, one's core is certainty, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
One doesn't like certainty, and he or she's thriving because of uncertainty. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot
so
of
if
sense.
somebody's not willing to work on themselves, Albert, you gotta have empathy, compassion, and love, and they might have to go, and maybe they'll bounce around and see, oh my God, it's not better. The grass isn't greener, and that's when a lot of times people reflect and decide they have to work on themselves.
Yeah, Dean, and like a lot of people, all my life, especially ever since I started my business life, that I started a small broker shop, and then I started growing it. Everybody always told me like, hey, you're doing the wrong thing. You're taking too much risk. Why are you doing that? Even with Driven Event, when I started Driven Event, I didn't have the money to start it, and I needed 50 grand because I needed 25 grand to pay. This is 2017. I needed 25 grand to pay the Ritz for the deposit. I needed 25 grand more to pay Grant Cardone for his deposit because he was going to be one of the speakers. He was going to be the main speaker that was going to bring in the audience. So I didn't have the 50 grand. I had 25. So I told a buddy, hey, buddy, can you want to go 50-50? 25K you, 25K me, and then we'll sell tickets. And then we'll grow this event. We'll fill up the stage. And my buddy said no. And my buddy was scared. He said, well, you don't have experience with creating events. You don't have, you're not a speaker. I don't know what all the excuses were, but he didn't want to do it. So I grabbed the credit card, put the other 25 grand, started Driven. Now we're going on Driven 7. 7 years later, we're going on Driven 7 next year. And this is Driven 6 happening. And now this event, it takes about $1 million to put this event together, and it's generating not only revenue, but most importantly, it has grown the brand. So it has grown the brand, which has helped grow all the other companies that we started. And it's just like, I look back and I'm like, damn, I can't believe that, that risk that I took where I just put everything on the line, and then I put a credit card for 25K, and then they grew, and now we have Dean Graziosi here, and we've had so many greats at Driven, And it's been a life changer for that company. But all my life, it's been like that. When this whole market started changing in real estate and mortgage, everybody started downgrading their office, cutting employees. We haven't laid off any employee. We actually upgraded our headquarters, and now we have the entire floor up here. We have a nice view. We have a shower, locker room in our headquarters. We have a gym, a bar, studio, and this studio, I got it because of you. You referred me your people, so we got this big LED screen. So we are
that's awesome.
we are investing right now in the expansion of the company because I believe that I'm excited. I believe these are going to be great opportunities, and I believe that if I lead and people that are all in, people that are smart, they're going to stay here with me. They're going to partner up, and we're going to maintain. We're going to grow maybe a little bit. We're not going to double every year anymore because this year's not a year where you could double from last year. But I think if we grow maybe 10%, and then in a year or like those 18 months when they pass, I believe we're going to take over. And let me tell you something, Dean. Right now, we are one of the top mortgage brokers in LA, which that means that we are one of the biggest mortgage brokers in California and in the nation because LA is a huge market. And I know, and that's all data that I look. So right now, I'm really excited, and I think the hard work is paying off, but it is a lot harder. It is a lot tougher, but I'm willing to put in the work. And I don't know, you inspire me to go on a rant now, but it's because of people like you. It's not because of what I learned in school, because I didn't graduate on stage from high school. It's about all the self-help that I've learned from people like you. So once again, thank you. And I just want to get your advice on this too. Do you think I made the right choice of expanding and keeping all my staff, or do you think that maybe all those people were right in letting people go and kind of downgrading so that you can save more money and do what do you think? How do you feel about that?
So it would all depend. I think I love your story, and I love your bravery in times. And I'd say I would make sure that you're focusing and working on. Here's a great line for everybody to hear, and then I'll get back to your question. My question, only because I'm 53 and I've been in business since I was 17, so I'm telling you through the lens of just history. I've been through 2 recessions while I was in business, right? And here's what I want to say. I love Albert Einstein's quote that if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes on the right question, right? So what I'd say to you, Albert, is what questions are you asking yourself? That's number one. What questions are you asking yourself? But secondly, the greatest epiphany I had in my entire life, it's when you start thinking how do you thrive in a shifting economy? How do you make it so mortgage brokers can still make a good living and real estate agents can make a good living even when things are going in the direction they're going? How can really freak you out. It's Tony calls it the tyranny of how, right? Like how can freak you out. Replace the word how with who. So if you combine those two things, who, and if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes on the right question. What I'd be doing is and I'm sure you have a plan. I'm sure you have a strategy. I'm sure you wouldn't invest and stay and keep people just by saying, oh, let's just hope it gets better. Hope isn't a strategy, okay? So if the way I look at it, if I was you right now, I would find 3 people that are probably my age who've been in the mortgage business and the real estate business and got through 2007 and came out stronger. I would find them over the next month, and then I would probably pay for a private jet or a plane, and I would fly them into one spot, and I'd put them up in a kick-ass hotel, and I would spend 2 days asking all the right questions and say, stretch me. What am I not thinking about? What can I do? Listen, in 2007, you know what I did? I was teaching real estate education. I was the biggest in America teaching real estate education, how to buy and flip a house, and all of a sudden, nobody's buying. The whole world is selling, and the whole world's in foreclosure. You know what I did? I shifted my strategy to teach my students to only go after people who already own 4 or more rental properties.
Yeah.
I said, if someone owns rental properties, they want to buy more houses cheaper. So be a bird dog, do wholesaling, help go find deals, but only don't go after new home buyers. They're on pause. The banks back then shut down. The banks didn't lend anybody money. It wasn't like it was a higher interest rate. Today you're at 5 or 6%. There was no loans happening in 2007. They shut down the whole industry. So I taught my students and pivoted a whole training on go find investors and sell them cheap deals. And when we shifted, nobody was getting rich overnight, but man, so many of them were knocking down a deal every 2 months to investors, and they were able to build momentum slower. And then when the economy shifted, oh my God, my students were on fire. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that's your strategy, Albert. What I'm saying is I had to think. So that's what I'd say. Think of who, not how. What are the right questions? How do you get in the right room of people who've already been there? Not people your age, not people who've, or people younger than you that haven't gone through it. I'd find those that have, cut them a check, invite them over, take them, go meet them. And that's the best definition of paying for speed. Then you get to take all that, come back with your culture, your thoughts, your ideals. You'll melt them together. And when you share that plan, listen, if I was you, I'd be doing that over the next couple months. Then I would have a state of the union with your company. And I'd be like, hey, shit has changed. It is different than it was. And I'm not just sitting around hope is getting better, because hope isn't a strategy. So I flew to California, or I flew to New York, and I sat with this guy. He was in business, he thrived. I sat with this woman, I sat with this man, and I put together a strategy. And here's how we are gonna thrive in this shifting economy as mortgage brokers and as real estate agents, and give that plan, because we all need hope. And then it goes back to your, how did I start this? Protect your confidence. If you have that air of confidence, if you know where you're going, everybody that follows you, like, hey, I got a leader that's got shit going on. I got someone who's focusing on making sure I'm okay on these shifting times. We're not just hoping this is the direction we're going. Anyway, that's a rant from me, but that's what I would do if I was in your shoes.
Yeah, and Dean, that's why I flew in to see you. This is why I love the podcast, because the podcasts are it's like a private mastermind between me and you. So I love these moments, because I learn a lot from podcasts, but especially when I get an opportunity to ask somebody like you. I invest a lot of money in mentors. So, and I have mentors in the lending space and real estate. So to me, the most valuable thing I can get is the relationship. So like, that's why I flew in to meet you. You met my wife. You showed me a few things, in your office. So I really value especially when I get an opportunity to be one-on-one with somebody like you. So, once again, very, it's an honor to speak with you, Dean. So now, moving really, really quick. I know you got to go. I don't want to take too much time. The real estate market. Are you still investing in deals right now, or did you kind of pull back a little bit?
So I haven't invested in fix and flips in a long time. My other companies take so much of my time. I just got done selling a lot of properties that I bought in 2007. I bought almost 1,000 doors, bought almost 1,000 houses. And think about that. As an agent, I worked during the whole downturn. I worked with about 6 different agents and bought hundreds and hundreds of properties. It was the exact strategy I was teaching my real estate investors, right? Find investors like me, because they're out there. And I'm not talking about the institutional guys, right? I'm talking about the individual investors. But long story short, I sold most of them, and right now I'm buying mostly A-plus commercial properties. Right, I just bought a Buffalo Wild Wings 2 weeks ago, and I'm buying a Bank of America, and I bought 3 grocery stores. So I'm buying safe long-term assets right now in the real estate space that, as long as they produce the right revenue, they're making sense. So probably in the last 6 months, I bought quite a bit on that side.
That's awesome, Dean. One thing that I also noticed from you is you catch trends early. Like you always, like we were talking about this prior to this last thing, where you're saying that you were coaching people, teaching them on how to sell real estate to investors, but and then you got into the self-help space like before everybody. Like you just and now you're buying certain commercial buildings, but you're always you seem to always jump ahead of the game of everybody else. Like where do you get that special power here?
The same thing you just said. First off, I do feel that I like to innovate. I'm not afraid to be a trendsetter, all those things. But the fact of the matter is, you already know the secret. I've been blessed to be able to surround myself with really smart people, and I cut checks for speed. And I will cut a check for someone to be a consultant for 50 grand for a half a day if I know that it'll change my life and allow me to bridge the gap, to go faster, if somebody's already been through it. So I love to mastermind. I love to brainstorm. I love to see where trends are, especially in areas. I don't want to get good in every area of my life. I just want to be close with people who are the best in the world at what they do. So how old are you, Albert?
39.
39. So I'm a little bit older than you. So think about I got you by 14 years, right? Think about if you spent the next 14 years still developing these relationships and build reciprocity. When you have a relationship, I try to do more for others than they would ever expect, and I'm not looking for anything in return except to build the reciprocal relationship, right? Think if you had 14 more years to build these relationships and you get into a shifting economy and you go, oh my God, I know that guy that made $100 million during the last shift, fly out. He made $500 million, fly out and see him fly. And all of a sudden, because you built relationships, you built rapport, you built reciprocity by helping them in advance, when things shift, you get to tap into the who rather than figuring out how.
Yeah. And you know what? One thing about you is that you've stayed relevant. Like you started 22 years ago, more or less, and then you've stayed in the game. There is a lot of, now talking just a little bit about the self-help space. You've been in this forever, and you don't go away. And in today's world, especially, I'm sure you see a lot of them. I get annoyed personally because there's so many, and there's so many people that are going to teach you how to make millions, but they don't even have maybe any money in the bank, and they're going to teach you how to become successful. So for me, I think it's really important to watch the source of your advice. So like whenever I bring somebody to Driven event, I really want these people to be people that I really, really have learned a lot from, and that they changed my life, and that they're just the top of the top. And that's how I feel about you. So you have been in this space forever, but there's a lot of people now trying to copy you and other people in the space. Everybody wants to be Tony Robbins, and a lot of people fall off quick. So in this space, I know it's a great space to be in, a great industry, because there's a lot of money. I think 350 million a day, I've heard you say, and it's going to be even more. Can anyone get into this space, or do you believe that they really have to have a business acumen and success? And how do you tell who's a real coach that to hire and who's just not a good coach?
Yeah, really good. Now there's a lot of aspects of the self-education industry, right? If you're teaching someone how to fish or ride horseback, or how to cook vegan, or how to do yoga, right? You don't have to. I don't think you have to have ever had a business. If you're amazing at yoga, meditation, if you're amazing at making sure children are great through a divorce, right? You don't have to necessarily be a business. And some of those people are the greatest coaches in the world, Albert, because they've been through the pain of it, right? They had to figure it out. They're on the other side. They can help people. So I've seen some of the most amazing coaches and course creators that just had a mess they went through, and they're on the other side. Or they have a skill that they've acquired, and they're on the other side. On the complete opposite of that, picture this. You said 22. I think this is 25 or 26 years for me in this industry. So there's not many besides Tony that have been in it that long, right? So I've seen them all come and go, Alex. Albert, just think about how many you've seen since you've been doing this since 17 or 2016. Imagine how many I've seen since 1997. And there's the copycats, and they come in with a flash, and they got it going, and they might have the jet or show the fancy watch, or they chartered a jet for the weekend and make it look like theirs. I have no negative thoughts anymore on that. They all just come and go if they don't have one thing. And this is the secret. What changed in my life, and it really changed probably a decade ago, and I've been in this business for a long time, but what really changed and obsessively changed 5 years ago, and I hope it continues this change, is the only way you have longevity in this industry is if you truly like to serve others.
Yeah.
If you see what you do as service, if you truly believe that what you're doing changes people's lives, if you really care about others and the outcomes they have, then all the other stuff is the work to make that real.
Yeah.
Right? I know that might sound high level, but when you fall in love, this some of you watching might be like, all right, I had enough of this guy. But I want to tell you something. When you fall in love with your clients, when you fall in love with their success, you fall in love with their results, and it truly anchors into your heart, there's another level in all of you that you're not even seeing. It's when it's not about the money, it's not about the game, it's not about impressing your peers or showing everybody how much money you made, or just getting, I am not knocking new cars, new houses, new planes, I've done all of it, right? What I'm saying though, when that's the byproduct of service, hear me, when your success is the byproduct of serving others, there's no one that'll stop you. You won't be a flash in the pan. You won't be having a conversation with someone saying, back in the good old days, before the economy shifted, I used to. Screw used to. I have a fear of ever being the guy that used to do it. I want people to look at me of 3 years ago when you thought I was successful, and I don't even know that guy anymore. I'm wealthier, I'm happier, I have more, emotional intelligence. I care about people more. I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. I don't even want, that guy of 3 years ago was a great stepping stone, but I'm not him anymore, right? That's the way, when you start looking at that and you look at that your success relies on your depth of caring, man, the byproduct to be is you'll sell more, impact more, you'll grow more. And when shit goes sideways, people will cling to you because they know you care.
Yeah. And then I heard you say something you were talking to Alex, a mutual friend, Hormosi. So you told him something that if you want to help the masses, something along the lines, if you want to help the masses, you have to become a celebrity, like famous, like known all over the world. The more people that know you, the more people you can help. So question for you. So, and I think you could correct me if I'm wrong. You mentioned something that even if you put your life on the line, let me tell you what happened to me. So they broke into my house, four robbers with guns, and I was fortunate nothing happened. My dad could have ended up bad, but he was good. My dog is good. We moved from that house, but then we moved to one of the nicest buildings in here in Beverly Hills area, Sunset Plaza, and then they attacked me again. 2 robbers with guns. I had a gun here, gun here. They took my watch. Nothing happened to me, but I was thinking like, man, just give me one more day because I haven't said bye to my daughters. I know you have a beautiful family. You're a father, and it was just like, man, these are weird times. And I always wanted to have more reach, have a bigger audience because I wanted to reach more people, to help more people, to grow the companies, and to do many things. And then I remembered I saw that it was a TikTok video, and I saw it. And I'm like, man, you know what? I saw it that same day for some reason. And I'm like, this is so crazy. So now, like, I'm very aware of my surroundings. I have to be a little bit paranoid. Whenever I walk out, I just have to make sure I'm not wearing a watch. I'm being extra careful because I know that I can't leave this planet now because a lot of people depend on it, especially my little daughters. But it's real, and especially with the economy right now, you just have to be very careful of your surroundings. And I just wanted to share that because I saw your video with Alex, and it really touched my heart.
Yeah, and I'll tell you how it came. It was actually framed a little different. Alex just said to me, hey, man, does it bug you out that so many people know you? Like wherever we go, people are like, hey, Dean. And we literally we did one of those days. We did a mastermind together, and we spent the day together and went to lunch, and a couple people had said hi, and he's like, hey man, does it bug you that so many people know you? Does it freak you out? And he's like, I'm ready to go to another level. And if you see, Alex is exploding right now, and he deserves to be. He's a really smart dude. He cares about people, and he's got great freaking wisdom. You should listen to everything that guy says, right? He's the real deal. And it was really as subtle as that. And I just said, hey, yeah, it's kind of freaky. You know, I've had people come to my house, jump the fence where I live, try to get in the front door over time. Not a lot, but it's happened over the last 25 years. But I said, if that's the cost of serving others, if that's the cost of success for my family, and I get to impact others in a positive way, I'm willing to pay for it. That's literally how it went. And then we talked about it deeper than that, but that's how it started. He's like, to freak you out, to scare you. And the fact of the matter is, I'll say the truth, for the impact I get to make, not only do we get to do well in business and have hundreds of employees, right? I think I'm over 10 million meals with Feeding America this year. I built three schools in Africa. We've donated $600,000 to Operation Underground Railroad to help rescue children from slavery, right? We help Phoenix Children's Hospital. If serving others and being a little known allows me to help my family and retire my mom and dad and help the employees we have and help charitable causes and give support to people when they need it, then I'm willing to pay that price.
Yeah. And that when I saw that video, I kind of got that, okay, positive feedback. Okay, you got to keep going. You just got to be you got to be smarter. You got to be aware of your surroundings. Now, to wrap up, Dean, I'm very excited to have you at Driven. So I know you're going to be at Driven next weekend. I'm going to see you there. I'm really proud of your. I'm just really happy for you. I'm happy for you. I know you were you're married. You told me last time you're a father, and me and Syl. We have 2 daughters, and we're expecting a third. She's 5 months pregnant, so we look up to people like you because we see you. By the way, you don't look older than me. When I get to your age, I want to look. I wish I could look like that. So,
thank you. We have another baby. We have another baby coming in 2 weeks.
Oh, awesome. So that's going to be kind of like right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right
so I told her she's got to hold off until after I get back from Driven.
Got it. So you guys are role models to us because we want to have your life. So we're willing to put in the work, and because people like you, I think there's other couples, like power couples with families, kids, that look up to you and your family, and we're like, man, we want to be like that. So you give us a lot of inspiration. And last question, Dina, for Driven, what are you gonna bring to Driven? And maybe you could share a story for our Driven audience that nobody has ever heard from you, like something that maybe you've never said publicly. Could be anything, a funny story, I don't know, something that you've done that maybe not a lot of people know from you that you could bring to the Driven people.
Yeah, so here's what I'll say. I'm excited to come. I don't have time for a lot of presentations, Albert, but I got to meet you and your wife here, and you touched my heart when you were here. I love how much you care about your family. So I'm coming because of that. So just so you know, it's the relationship we built, and not because I don't appreciate you paying me to come and all the beautiful support you have, but my life is so busy, and I'm having a baby, and I help Tony run his company, that there's just not time. So I'm excited to come, and I'm excited to share. And the fact of the matter is, I know your audience. I know if you're listening right, I know you. I know your fear. I know your desires. I know your goals. I know what you're going through, and I've been there. And I think I can bring a perspective. If you liked what we shared today, I get to bring a perspective that's different than most. You know, I've been through a couple recessions. I've been in real estate since I was 17 years old. So I understand this world. I understand this shift. And a story, I think the best stories of her, and I don't have a real story. I'm not going to attach one particular story, but I think what you all have to know is what you're feeling right now is you're not alone. I've had nights where I've stayed up all night, I've cried and worried and said, everything I built is going away because the world has shifted. It's not fair. Why did this happen? And I've been in those spots, and I realized I had to create a new me, a new mindset, a new thought process. Sometimes we get caught in the hypnotic rhythm of how we think, and the thinking that got you here. Please hear this. The thinking that got you here is not the thinking that'll take you to where you want to go. So we not only have to up-level our thinking, we have to up-level new capabilities, we have to up-level new action steps, and that results in next-level results and fulfillment and success. So I know where you are because I've been there. I'm really excited to see all you guys, and we'll have an amazing time at Driven.
Thank you, Dean. And I'll put your information below. Is Instagram your favorite for people to follow you?
Sure. That's great.
Awesome. Thank you, Dean.
You got it. See you, Albert. See you, everybody.
See you next weekend.